get your money, don't care who judge. Stay out the way, surround yourself with nothing but love. Stay out the way, if you a gangster, killer or thug. Stay out the way, put your faith in the man above. Stay out the way, chill with your family, siblings and blood. Stay out the way, kick it with your girl, forget hit in the club. Stay out the way, mind on your money, ain't no switching it up. Stay out the way, stand out the way, what you thought that it was. Stay out the way. If you stuck down on your luck, not feeling righteous, did a petty crime, just looking for some excitement. Now your name on affidavits and court indictments, get paid for a lot, but your freedom is priceless. You did the crime, you do the time, don't let it surprise you. Real stories from the heart, just to open your eyes up.
Part 3 gang, y'all. Let's get it, y'all. Part 3 gang, y'all. Let's get it. Like, share, subscribe, y'all. Let's get it. Let's go. Man, that junk was crazy, man. That man said, hold my watch, music. He walked in that joint just like that. He walked in that joint. That's why you heard me. Boom. I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God. Man, the young boy punishing Vic. I'm like, my word, Vic rumbling, but the young boy getting him. I'm like, oh my God, that joint went for a minute. I told him, I was like, man, come on, that's enough, bro. He went in there, he was like, all right, man, hold on. I grabbed Vic, I was like, chill. Vic was like, his shirt was all ripped, he was bleeding right here. He was like, what you think I'm gonna back down? Yeah, what you think I'm gonna back down? Young boy was like, man, look, man, I'm telling you, man, stay away from me, man. Stay away from me, man. He was like, hold on, man, come on, chill out. Chill out, man. So we get Vic out the cell. I'm walking to the front. I was like, bro, chill, bro. Chill out, bro. What you doing, man? You wildin', man. He was like, no, Weezy. You try to catch us, bro. He was like, no, Weezy. I'm trying to make sure everything's straight. I was like, yo, bro, listen, bro. Don't let CO creature get you tricked up now, bro. You going too far. You like, nah, it's all gonna be for a good cause. He wiped his face. He was like, my jaw swollen? I looked at him like, it might be swollen in the morning. He was like, yeah, you know what? Think I'm gonna back down from him? Yeah, I ain't backing down. So he say that, a couple of more red team members came out. I seen them hollering at my homeboy, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of them was my homeboy said anyway. So I seen him talking to my homeboy. So my homeboy, they're like, he's still in the cell trying to talk to dude, I guess, you know what I mean? So after about 20 minutes of him talking to dude, man, he came to the door. He's like, hey, Weezy, come here, man. I was like, man, stay right here, man. I was like, what's up? I walked over there. I was like, what's up? He was like, hey, look, man. Look, I got them chill out, man. Listen, man. Like, they gonna chill, bro. Like, they just like, man, let's make sure that I get the pack with you. Like, you know what I mean? They doing all this on the strength of me. Like, they really don't like that man or like the lady. But on the strength of me, they gonna chill, bro. He was like, they gonna chill out, bro. Because I told him we're gonna get the pack soon. He was like, you sure the pack a lot? I'm like, bro, listen, I don't know if it is or it ain't. You know what I mean? I was like, to be honest with you, I don't care what happens from here on out, bro. I said, the only thing I was just trying to do is just keep everything copacetic, just in case we can have a shot at getting the pack. I said, but I'm not promising the pack is gonna come. If that's what you asked me, he was like, no, I'm just saying, though, like, you really think he got a shot at making it happen? I was like, bro, he wouldn't be fighting a red team member if he think he wasn't getting the pack, bro. He wouldn't be fighting a red team member, bro. He was like, yeah, you right. Like, for real, I was stupid. I was dumb, bro. But like he lucky we was over here. For real. I was like, man, that junk crazy. I was like, so look, young boy said he gonna chill. He was like, yeah, I got my other homie to holler at him. And I hollered at him some more, like, yo, like, after everything gets straight, I'm gonna look out for him, you know what I mean? This and that. And that's usually how you gotta do stuff in penitentiary, y'all. Like, you gotta grease people beak paws. Like, you have to. Like, that's how I go in there, man. Ain't nothing free in there, man. Like, if you gonna get a beef squash or get something like that, usually be like, yo, bro, listen, especially when it comes to like you trying to get some money and that beef, it probably can affect that. You know what I mean? Dudes will be like, yo, look, bro, you gotta chill, bro. Look, everything is straight. I'm gonna throw you, bro. Like, just relax. You know what I mean? And a lot of dudes will relax, waiting on that favor, man. But for this situation right here, though, like, I'm just so happy that it got to the point where they said they was about to let this go. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, all right, bro. I was like, look, bro, we about to dip back. He was like, all right, I'm gonna chill, it's done. So me and bro, I walked back to the door with Vic. I was like, come on, bro. I hit the button later. I was out. She ain't no dudes was fighting and everything. We come back out. We in the hallway. He was like, what happened? He kept saying, what happened, man? I was like, man, come on, man. Went to our door, hit the button. Later, let us in the joint. Walking the joint. He's still walking. He like, what happened, man? He walk in. Dudes were like, man, what happened to you, Vic? Man, he was like, nothing. Weez, what happened, man? I'm like, man, chill out, man. What you doing, man? He was like, man, Weez, what happened, man? What happened, man? I was like, bro, listen. They said they gonna chill out, bro. You know what I mean? I said, but they only chilling because they thinking you gonna get this pack. And you know, me and my man in the car. So, you know, my man, the red team. So my man said when he get the pack, he gonna play fair with them. So I was like, you think you really gonna get this lady to move? He was like, man, I just fought. I gotta get something after this. I gotta get something after this. I was like, bro, listen, bro. Don't go in that junk trying to chase the poo-poo crazy, bro, and have a freaking alien as a baby, bro. I said, get some money, man. I said, that's what this is about, bro. You take these type of gambles, bro, for the money, bro. You don't do it for nothing else, Vic. He was like, yeah, I know. Let me work on him. Let me work on him. I told her I was going to handle this. Then I'm going to handle it. He was like, when she come to work tomorrow, I'm going to let her know. He's like, she going to see the scratch on my face. She going to know that I was fighting, and I did it all for her. I'm like, this dude logic of doing things was maniac bill, y'all. So boom. I didn't understand it, man. But at the end of the day, I'm always trapped in a situation I don't want to be in, man. Now, I wasn't trying to do nothing but be nosy and keep money in my homeboy safe. But it's starting to get out of control, man. The red team, though, I never expected the red team to be involved in this, man. And like, what was Miss Watson thinking, trying to send a civilian over to handle red team business? Like, this was crazy right here, man. Good thing I think on my feet, you know what I mean? But like, it's a good thing that Vic is kind of like a maniac thinker, that he's like, yo, let me get Weezy to haul at this man. And it worked. It worked a little bit, man. It worked, man. But still, though, he got a lot of pressure to upheld now. Like, it's a lot of people counting on him now. So, like, for real, like, I guess when she came back to work, bro had a conversation with him, man. Like, even though his face was a little crazy, like, he still was feeling good. You know what I mean? He was still feeling good. He was all out in the hallway with her. He was doing everything, man. Every time I look at her, like, she was like, why, you okay? Because now, since me and bro got this job and she see that things are being handled, like, she thinking he's handling everything. But the whole time, I'm in the shadows trying to take care of everything, you know what I mean? On his behalf. Just trying to make sure everything stay copacetic. But for real, man, like, I think that she was looking at it like she knew this was going on. See, Miss Watson wasn't stupid, y'all. She was ugly, but she wasn't stupid, man. Like, she knew kind of bro was weathered. And this would prove it right here. I promise you, man. Like, for real, I'm coming back from dinner. You know what I mean? Me and my man that I got the phone with, we coming back from dinner. I didn't even want to go to dinner. I walked right into this freaking booby trap. I promise you, man, we go to dinner. We come back around the little hill joint. We come back up on 40 building. We get to 40 building. I look. I couldn't see them because they was ducked off behind where you got to walk in before you walk into our slider door, the main door. They was like right there. So coming down the boulevard, you can't see them. You know what I mean? So when I got to our building, that's when I seen him. I'm like, he was like, hey, look, hey, Weezy, hey, look, I'm glad you came. So my man right there, I was like, hold on, bro. He was like, hey, look. Man, tell her, bro, like, we handle business, bro. Tell her we a good team, bro. Tell her I got down. He's like, man, tell her how I be going in there, making sure everything's straight on her behalf, making sure. I was like, I really didn't know what to say. I was stuck for like a second or two, y'all. Pause. I was like, oh, yeah. Bro bro handle his business. He handle his business. She was like, I open up 42 slider. Yeah, what you do then? Did the red team member call you ugly today? She was like, nah, he ain't call me ugly today. He ain't disrespect me. Open up 43 slider. He was like, why you keep saying that? What, you ain't believing what I'm telling you? What, you ain't think I handle these business? She was like, what happened to your face? What happened to his face? I said, I don't know. That's what it was my cue to leave. I got up out of here. My word, I did. But I didn't even want to walk into that because I don't know how to lie that good about crazy stuff. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all, man. So I go back in the pod. I'm in the pod. Dude's like, so I'm on the bottom tier. She do a round. She come straight to my door. She come to my door this time. She opened the door. She didn't knock, look, do nothing. She was just like, hey, White, hey, look, you better stop lying to me. I know that's you handling everything. His scared buddy ain't handling nothing, is he? I'm like, what do you mean? She was like, he ain't handling nothing, is he? I'm like, man, look. I don't know what's going on. I said, he told you about some money? And I don't even know why I said this. But I felt like I had to say it, man, because I'm just like, it's too much looking at this ugly lady, man. I'm looking at a freaking creature at my front door with a badge. And like, I'm just trying to figure this thing out on the whim. So I was just like, man, forget it, man. You ugly enough to get this question. I was like, he told you we trying to get some money? She was like, oh, so that's what this is all about, huh? Y'all want some money. That's what y'all want. Y'all want some money, huh? Y'all want me to bring the drugs in. Y'all want me to do this. Y'all want the la-la. Y'all want the tobacco. That's what y'all want, huh? I'm like, yeah, that sound good, Ms. Watson. I was like, for real. I started liking her right there. I was like, yeah, that sound good. I was like, yeah, that sound good, Ms. Watson. That sound good right there. She was like, nah, he ain't saying nothing to me about it. But she was like, I don't know though. Like, I don't know. I love my job. I was like, listen, man. I wanted to give her the bad news. Like, yo, for real though, like, And my man had told me this, and I didn't even want to spoil the story and come out with it, but like me and her was talking, so I gotta tell y'all this. Like, but the red team was like, yo, if dude don't get that pack within a couple of weeks, they was gonna smash bro anyway. You know what I mean? Vic was gonna get smashed anyway. So I'm just like, my man told me that. Like, I was still thinking that was fair enough time for us to put that together. You know what I mean? But like, that's why I told y'all Vic had a lot of pressure on him though. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yo, I'm just saying though, like, man, that's what I'm into. Like, I'm trying to get money. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know what he talking about. She was like, how you trying to be my man? She had her foot in my door looking ugly. She was like, he trying to be my man. Yeah, he trying to be my man. I'm like, look, y'all gonna have time for that, like, all the time. Y'all can do that. I was like, but in the meantime, though, she was like, all right, wife, look, you better not be lying to me about he taking care of business over there. She was like, did he or not? Did he get beat up or didn't he? I was like, why you selling at a red team member anyway? I said, look, you going too far. I'm letting you know now, I'm not getting no member stuff, no red members, no blue members. I don't have nothing to do with that. She was like, anything could be handled. She was like, y'all gotta police yourself in here. I'm giving y'all a chance before I start getting crazy. Cause she said, once I go nuclear, I don't look back. She used the word nuclear. I was like, man, all right, man. I was like, look, man, you know what I mean? I said, I don't know. She was like, all right, she dipped. When she dipped, she goes straight out the pod. I look, she goes straight out the pod. So I stopped by messing with my stuff. I hear a knock at the door. I'm like, yo, it's Vic. He come to the door. He like, hey, what you talking about, bro? She ain't come to my cell like that. I'm like, she was talking about you. He was like, what you talking about? He sat down. I said, bro, listen, bro. I went on and told her, bro, like, you know what I mean? He was like, you told her what? I said, man, calm down. I ain't tell her you was over there welling. I ain't tell her that. You know what I mean? I said, look, I went on and said, bro, we trying to get some money. He was like, why you say that? I was like, bro, what do you mean? I said, you hit her yet? He was like, nah, I ain't hit her yet. I said, you kiss her yet? He was like, nah. I said, that's a good thing, bro. I said, you might catch a fever blister for kissing that rhinoceros pistol. I said, but look though, bro, like you ain't accomplished nothing yet. I said, how you gonna get the pack, bro? He was like, cause the pack ain't no rush. I said, hold on. I said, hold on, bro. I said, it is a rush, bro. He was like, what you mean? I said, bro, it is a rush. It is a rush, bro. I said, because for real, for you coming over there with that BS, bro, trying to freaking, you know what I mean, do stuff for Miss Watson, Miss Westbusha, whoever she is, bro. I'm like, the red team ain't like that, bro. I said, the red team feel like you just putting your nose where it don't supposed to be, bro. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, man, I think you are too, bro. So I was like, for real, you fought dude one-on-one? I was like, but they wanted to bank you, bro. I said, on the strength of my man, like he got that junk, you know what I mean? Thrown out. Like they weren't trying to do it after that. I said, but the only catch was that you got to get that pack. You know what I mean? I said, now if you get the pack, that takes care of everything, bro. I said, so speed it up. I said, go holler at her about the pack, bro. I said, I done jive said something, bro. I said, make it happen, bro. Make it happen. So he was like, so you telling me, he was still sitting in the box. He was like, so you telling me that the red team gonna get at me if I don't get the sack? I'm like, yeah, bro. He was like, how much time I got? I was like, bro, probably about 12 days, bro. He was like, 12 days. I was like, yeah, bro. Real talk, bro. I was like, they waiting, bro. I said, they don't see my man pop up with no work. Yeah, that means no sack. He was like, man, I gotta get on my job, Dan Weezer, man. I can't fight all the red team members. I'm saying in my head, you better get on your job because I'm not fighting red team members either, y'all. So boom. Thinking we in this together? No, we're not in this together. I was doing everything just to view the landscape so I can know what's going on. This is why I'm doing everything. But he knows he's on the clock. Now, bro gotta go holler at CO Creature and make this happen, man. Her ugly ass need to bring this fucking package. She's ugly enough to bring it. You know what I mean? Bring the fucking work. It's simple. So I see bro, like he was trying to put it together all day. He was looking serious. He was like, what's up, bro? You good? He was like, yeah. I see you holler at her. Yeah. He was like, nah, I'm holler at her before she leave. I said, bro, we go to dinner, bro. Just stay back and holler at her, bro. I said, they got fucking beefaroni over there, bro. He was like, I like putting the sugar twin in my beefaroni. I said, bro, listen, fuck that beefaroni, bro. I'll give you a soup, nigga. God damn it. Nigga, you need to make this pack happen, bro. What are you talking about, bro? He was like, I'm gonna holler, you know what I mean? So goddamn, we go to dinner. When I come back from dinner, I seen him on the wall on some cool shit. You know what I mean? He hollering at this shit. I didn't say nothing. I walked back in the building. You know what I mean? We go last a little bit, so it's almost time for lockdown and shit. So he come back in the pod. You know what I mean? I know I'm on the bottom tier, so I got my back to my cell. I see when he came in through the door. I'm looking, I'm like, he walked in. He got to come basically up my steps to get to his cell. So he walked. He was like, you see me? He was like, he gave me a little smile. I'm saying in my head, better hope that smile matches a pack, y'all. So boom. I don't care about no smile. I want to hear words, but I didn't want to put it out there in front of everybody. So me and him didn't have to talk at this particular time right here, man. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. That's cool. I ain't gonna say nothing. So when we came back out, she's gone now. So we came back out at the count. You know what I mean? I see bro. I'm like, what's up, bro? what's good? He was like, she said she gonna holler at me tomorrow, man. She said she about to see how they searching. And I said, bro, she know how they searching, bro. They search her every day, bro. What do you mean? This is Lawrenceville, bro. He was like, I'm saying, though, like, she just trying to be, you know what I mean, cautious, though, bro, because she got a daughter and shit. I was like, she got a daughter? I said, man, do her daughter look like Ball Bull or Mike Tyson Punch Out? Goddamn it. I said, man, I know she hit. Goddamn it. I hate to talk like that, though, man, but I'm just angry, though. I'm trying to get the pack. I'm like, she got a daughter, man. I said, man, come on, man. She got a freaking baby creature? I'm like, man, this is wild right here, man. I know I'm a psycho, y'all, but like, I didn't care. There was no cut cards at that time, y'all. So boom. Y'all know how I get when it comes to the pack. I said, well, she got a baby creature? Bro looked at me like, come on, Weezy, that's too harsh right there. I looked at him like, I don't care. What you mean, bro? Like, come on, is she bringing a pack or not, bro? I'm trying to save you at the end of the day, bro. He was like, I'm tired of you lying to me. I want to holler at her. I want to holler at her, Weezy. He's like, I know you got a phone, Weezy. I was like, what? He was like, man, I seen it one day, Weezy. I came in your cell. He's like, I came in your cell. You forgot to tuck it behind the bed. He said, I seen the cord and everything, Weezy. I know you got a jack. I was like, I wanted to say, what's that for? But I ain't do that. I wanted to be like, how you know that, bro? He was like, man, I seen it, Weezy, man. What do you mean? I seen it, Weezy. Look, let me call and rock her, bro. I'm like, looking at him like, I didn't really know what answer to tell him, man, because like, he was one of the dudes that I didn't let know I had a phone. I wasn't letting everybody know I had a phone. I'm about to go home, y'all. Like, I'm being extra cautious. To be honest with you, my man had the phone majority of the time. I just used to get the phone when we ain't out for rec and stuff like that, and I'll use the phone. Like, when we locked down, every lockdown, even the late lockdown for the rest of it, bro got the jack. So it was basically like bro jack, because bro wasn't going home. You know what I mean? Bro wasn't going home. I was going home. So it was bro phone anyway. I was going to leave. We was together on it, but it was basically going to be his once I leave. So I'm just like, what I'm going to tell this? I'm like, bro, you was that nosy, bro. He was like, man, come on, Weezy, you nosy too, bro. Like, I just seen it, bro. Like I'm saying, you trying to get to work, right? Let me holler at her, bro, overnight, bro. I was like, you got her number. He was like, man, yeah. How you told her you was going to call her, bro? He said, man, look, I just told her I was going to get access, bro. I said, bro, you ain't tell her I had no phone, did you, bro? He was like, he shook his head like this. I know I couldn't believe him. He was like, I said, bro, listen, man. I said, what I'm going to do is this. I said, bro, I'm going to go holler at my man. And then I'm gonna come back and holler at you, bro. You know what I mean? I said, this is what I'm gonna do, bro. I said, I gotta go get it. You know what I mean? I said, I gotta go handle some things. I'm gonna get back with you later, bro. I said, but look, you got a lot of people counting on you, bro. He was like, you right. I was like, all right, I'm gonna holler at you. So he dipped, he went in his cell. So I waited till I see him go in his cell, and I spun him. I went up the other side of the steps. Then I went to my man's cell in the handicap. I walked in the joint. Bro was on the jiggle box. I was like, hey, bro, look, let me holler at you. He was like, what's up? I said, look, man. I said, say word, bro, got her number. I said, bro, trying to holler at her, you know what I mean? I said, bro, trying to holler. I said, bro, goddamn, you know what I mean? He said, he hollered at her. He was like, for real? Like, yeah, bro. He said if he hollered at her, she'd probably be with it, you know what I mean? He was like, she was telling me she got to see how they search and all of this. I was like, he might do need like a good night to talk to her, you know what I mean? To rock her to sleep, man. Her glass, man, you know what I mean? She might need that, man. He was like, man, her creature looking ass, man. He was like, man, she better not tell it, bro, man. I was like, I don't know, bro. He was like, man, she a fucking sergeant, Weezy. I was like, I know, bro, but like, what the fuck, bro? Like, I don't know what option we got. I said, this nigga pulled up on me, telling me he know I got a phone. I said, he don't know that me and you involved in it. He told me he know I got a phone. So I asked him, how the fuck he know? He told me he seen me with the cord. One time he came to my room to get something. He seen on the bed and I had the cord tucked and all this shit. So he was like, God damn, that nigga nosy as a bitch. I'm like, man, I'm saying, like, I fuck with Vic, but I'm like, still though, I'm like, man, like, I feel like we should let him use it, bro. You know what I mean? I was like, look, just let him stay the night with it. Like, you ain't doing shit. I said, bro, it's a random Tuesday. He was like, fuck it, then. It's about the power. I'm like, yeah. He was like, yeah, well, fuck it, then. Here, bro, wrap that shit up. You know what I mean? Put that shit back in a Scrabble bag. Boom, 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 boom. Get it to me. You know what I mean? Now, you know, we got the flat screen game. We ain't got that fucking flip phone around this time, y'all. This is the fucking Verizon touchscreen game. You know what I mean? So, goddamn, I grabbed the shit. You know what I mean? So I made sure I looked. Fuck this nigga at. And I looked at his cell. Because his cell is facing, like, if I come out, he can just be in the cell and see where I'm coming out from. So, like, I got bro to run a play. His roommate and his homeboy, they always be coming up there while we up there anyway. So his roommate and young boy, they come up there. They all standing by the joint. When I see them all standing by the joint, I just slid out the joint. You know what I mean? Then I went to go start talking to the Richmond dude that sleep, like, kind of where my cell was at in 33 part, all the way at the end. You know what I mean? I went down there and started talking to the Richmond dude, but he run the parlay in the joint, so I'm talking to him. You know what I mean? That's when I seen Vic come to his door. He came to his door, he seen me, kept looking out the window and shit. But I spun him. I didn't want him to see where I was coming from. So I dipped down the steps. I get down the steps, chilling. You know what I mean? I see him come down with his bowl. I say, yo, Vic. He was like, what's up? I said, yo, bro, let me holler at you. He was like, what's up? I said, look, man, when we locked down, come holler at me, man. He was like, what, you got the phone? I was like, he was like, what you had to go get it? I'm like, damn, bro. Like, come here, bro. You loud as a bitch. He was like, what's up? I was like, man, come in the cell. He was like, yeah, this bowl. He was like, all right. He followed me in the cell. As soon as he came in the cell, I was like, God damn, bro. He was like, you got the phone? I was like, you need to chill out. He was like, what's up? I said, chill, bro. Look. I started patting that nigga down. I was like, bro, you ain't got no wire or nothing, do you, bro? He was like, hey, go ahead, Weezy. Man, I ain't got no wire. You need to shut up. I ain't got no wire, bro. I said, bro, you asking a lot of questions. He was like, no, I'm just making sure you had it. I said, bro, listen, go handle your business. When we lock down and give you this joint, handle your business. Goddamn it, holler at me in the morning, bro. I'm gonna be there first thing in the morning. He was like, all right, bet. So I gave bro the joint to talk to the lady the whole night game. You hear me? I let him talk to her the whole night game. So I ain't do nothing. Everything was straight. Everything was cool. My man that I'm on the phone with, he worked night shift. So he be out and about. So he job watching, make sure everything's straight. So nothing that happened. So bro stayed the night with the joint. So I wake up the next morning, you know what I mean? He gave me the phone, like he's supposed to do. He gave me the job. I was like, what's up, bro? He was like, yeah, bro, like, she said she gonna bring it, bro, like, for real though, bro, like, she said she gonna bring the joint. I was like, man, go ahead with that, man. He was like, for real, bro. Yeah, bro, like, I'm gonna get her, bro. Like, come on, bro, like, she rock with me, bro, for real, bro. I'm telling you. I was like, what was y'all talking about? He was like, man, we was talking about a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we was talking about a lot of stuff. So I'm like, all right, that's good, bro. Just make it happen, bro. I was like, when? He was like, well, she gonna talk to me when she come to work today. All right. So I went back in my cell. Y'all know as soon as he got out of sight, I was like, I pulled the phone out. I was like, I said, this nigga erased the numbers, y'all, so boom. He's a smart maniac. Now I'm like, this nigga erased the creature number out my phone. Now I wasn't going back door him. Still though, I wanted to make sure this pack was coming though, man. Pause on that backdoor game. But like, I was just like, he erased the numbers, was like, bro, was on point. I'm like, oh, all right, that's what's up. So when he say that, my man come to the cell. I give him the job. Here you go, bro. He was like, all right, what's up though? I was like, man, he said she gonna do it. She gonna holler in the night. He was like, man, I thought she was gonna holler in the early. You know what I mean? I was like, bro, listen, it's a process to this shit. You know what I mean? I was like, nigga, just gotta wait. So he was like, all right, bet. So bro did with the job. I go out in the pod. I look, somebody was calling my homeboy. So nigga like, Weezy, where your man at? You know what I mean? I was like, I called, I say, yo, bro, somebody wants you at the door. When I look, it was the young boy red team member that goddamn beat Vic ass. He had our door like this, the slide open up, he ain't walk in, but you can see him out the salad port. He like, hey, tell homie come here. Tell homie come here right quick. So I'm like, damn, so bro come down the steps. So bro talking to him, you know what I mean? Bro leave from that joint, you know what I mean? So when he come back, he was like, hey bro, he called me. I was like, what's up? He was like, hey look, they said that nigga don't get that pack this week, bro. They coming over here to beat that nigga ass. He gotta get out this building. I'm like, shh, I don't give a fuck. To be honest with y'all, so boom. I'm like, no, I was petty, man, but I didn't, man. Like, I don't give a fuck, man. Like, I don't give a fuck if this pack came or not. To be honest with y'all, man. Like, you know, you still gotta kind of wish on the star. You still gotta kind of like make sure everything runs smooth, straight. If you can get it to happen, like, this is all I'm doing. I don't give a shit if it happens or not, to be honest with y'all, man. But for real, bro, time is running out. You know what I mean? CO Creature is a piece of shit. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, this shit wild, man. So I'm like, damn, man. So let's see what this CO Creature talking about when she come back to work. So she come back to work. You know what I mean? Looking ugly as a bitch. So you know she the sergeant, so she in the fucking joint. So bro go out there and start hollering at her. You know what I mean? I didn't even want to tell bro that his deadline is almost up. So bro go holler at her. You know what I mean? Bro go holler at her and shit. Goddamn, he talking to her. Goddamn, you know what I mean? He's saying some shit. Goddamn, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. But I'm like, I hope this nigga make it happen. That's what the fuck he really needs to do. He need to make this shit happen, man. So he talked to her all fucking day. I don't know what the fuck had happened, man. But all I know is bro called me outside. And they was out there by the barber shop. And when I went out there, he was, hey, look. Hey, Weezy, look, man. Look, man. She ain't gonna do it, man. I'm like, why you call me out here to say that, though? I'm looking at him like, the fuck you called me out here to say that? She was like, yep, white, Nope, hell no. Fuck that, Hell no. She said it just like that. Fuck that. Hell no. Hell no. I'm looking at you, ugly goddamn moon space creature in the goddamn face. You like a goddamn old ass black pair of Timbs with eyeballs looking ass. I'm smoking her ugly ass. I'm like, nigga, you called me out here to give me bad news. I'm like, bro, I don't know. He was like, man, look, man, my fault. Look, holler at your homie. Holler at your man, tell him holler at his homies, bro. Tell him I'm still working. I need more time. I said, no, bro, you holler at him and tell him that shit. I said, listen, I said, Ms. Watson, respectfully, I said, I don't want that job no more. You know what I mean? I said, she was like, oh, why? You don't want the job? Because ain't no drugs coming through this junk? That's why you don't want the job? I was like, I wanted to be like, yes, but I didn't. I'm like, nah, I'm just about to go home. You know what I mean? She was like, oh, you about to go home, huh? I was like, yeah, I'm about to go home, man. I was like, man, I don't got time for this shit, man. I was like, yo, bro, I ain't got nothing to do with this shit, bro. You know what I mean? I said, you go talk to them niggas. I dipped. You know what I mean? I dipped. When I went back in the pod, I looked to see if he was looking. He wasn't. I shot upstairs to my homeboy cell. I told him, I said, yo, look, I don't think bro getting the pack. I said, Miss Watson said she bugging. She ain't doing shit. You know what I mean? He was like, after talking to her on the phone, I was like, yeah, bro. You know what I mean? He was like, man, I knew we should let that nigga use the phone. I was like, man, ugly ass creature, man. I said, that's how a creature do. A creature don't cooperate, man. They live in the damn ground looking ass, man. I said, man, that lady wild, man. I was like, man, this shit wild as a bitch, bro. But I don't think it's a go. He's like, shh. That nigga hopped on the phone. That nigga ain't even had to go to no door or nothing. That nigga hopped on the jack. They called. They was like, hey, look. He called his man. His man got a jack over there. I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? He was like, hey, look, I don't think, goddamn, civilian dude getting that pack. My man just told me that shit a no-go, man. Like, your ugly ass bucket. That's word. He was like, he put the joke on speaker for all you heard was his man like, man, we stopped joking her ugly ass for 2 weeks for no package, man. Ugly ass lady, man. I was like, he was like, well, all right, say no more, say no more, say no more. He was like, all right, homie. Shh, hung up. I was like, man, this shit crazy as a bitch, man. You know what I mean? So I guess them niggas waited for her to leave. So she worked the whole day. Everything was regular. When she leave, you know what I mean? She was gone for the night. So we ain't got no movement for nobody to come 229 around that time when she leave. So when the new shift change came on, you know what I mean? In the morning time, man, it's my word, breakfast. This is how breakfast used to be over there. Like, it'll still be dark in the pod. It'll be dark in the pod, like super dark. Like, they'll leave the lights off. The TV will be on, but like the lights in the pod will be out. You know what I mean? So dudes is still going to chow when it's dark outside and all that shit. So after that, that's when you will see niggas got down, come back out for rec after chow. Man, I promise you, man, as soon as we went to breakfast and came out, I stayed in the room. But my sonny came in the joint. My sonny was like, it was. He was like, it was. He was like, hey, man, the red team in this bitch. I was like, for real? He was like, man, them niggas in that bitch like 4 deep. I was like, what they doing? He said, man, they upstairs at Vic Sam. I was like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. As soon as I said that, you hear, I just heard like some fighting noise. I'm like, so I put my shoes on. I was like, I went and looked. See, the red team was up there. Red team members was up that bitch putting in work. That's my word. I can't see it. I can barely hear it, but I know niggas is up that bitch fighting. I'm like, that shit crazy. I was like, man, that shit wow. Man. I was like, damn. I felt a little bad, yo. I'm like, damn, man. I looked at my homeboy was standing by his handicap cell like, I was like, bro. He was like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I read his lips, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I was like, and they just whooped him, man. They whooped Vic ass in that bitch, man. Ain't none of his homeboy, ain't none of them niggas help where he from. None of that shit, man. Where he's from, it's a lot of red team members any goddamn way. Ain't nobody helped this nigga. Nigga got his ass whooped, man. This word, them niggas came down the steps like bad dudes after they whooped his ass. Them niggas was like, them niggas came down the steps angry. Niggas went straight to the slider. Goddamn, as soon as that bitch opened back up, them niggas dipped out. I was like, oh shit. That nigga Vic Selly went upstairs after seeing that shit. He was like, Vic Selly was a kind of young boy. He went up that bitch. He was like, he came back out. He was like, man, he gotta go to medical, man. He was like, man, that nigga fucked up. He was like, they fucked him up in that junk, man. I was like, God damn, man. I was like, that shit crazy, man. You know what I did? Man, I went back in the cell, man. I threw my headphones on, man. Like, I didn't want no parts of nothing. I told my son, I said, look, bro, everything put up. Ain't no jack in here. Ain't no work or none of that shit, bro. I said, bro, I'm listening to the music, bro. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm blocking penitentiary out. I put the joints on, and I laid back in the bed behind my cut. My word, I'm just like this. I'm just looking at the TV. I hear my roommate jump off the bed. He went to the door. I was like, what's up? Everything good, bro? He was like, nah, the police in here, Wilson. He was like, damn, this bitch deep. He said, oh, shit. He said, they taking Vic out. I said, for real, they taking him? He was like, yeah. I get up. I was like, look. Vic was coming down the steps like this. He was like, even, because when he come down, my cell is right there. He came down the steps. He was like, he looked at me and he was like, he just kept it moving. I was like, oh shit, that nigga fucked up. They took that nigga. He ain't had no cuffs on or nothing. My word, he was out of here. Goddamn, that's my word. Motherfucking, when Miss Goddamn lady came back to work, man, that lady was mad as a motherfucker, man. First thing she did, she didn't let us out for rec. She ain't let us out for rent. My word. First sale she came and shook down was my sale. I couldn't believe that shit. They came in my junk, ransacked my shit. My word. She standing right there like this. You rhinoceros peasant, so boom. I ain't say nothing. Go ahead. Ain't nothing in here. She tore my shit up. They like, nah, keep looking. They going all type of shit. They called the dude, Jack Bauer, come over that bitch. And nigga came over that bitch with a drill. Nigga, that nigga took my light off. I was like, oh shit, took the light off, nothing. You know what I mean? Goddamn, they hit a couple of more other sales. Goddamn, the next thing you know, they fucking locking niggas up that's across the hall in 43. Niggas look out the window after they search my shit. They search my shit and another nigga shit. You know what I mean? After they ain't search my man shit, thank God. They search my shit and another nigga shit. But this how I knew that Vic told, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. This how I knew that nigga told. Cause he told on the nigga, the second sale, they only searched 2 sales. The second sale they searched was the nigga's sale from Richmond that run the parlay who I was standing next to. You know what I mean? Cause he was watching me, but he missed me when I did a diversion to come out my man's sale. And when I did a diversion, I shot over there. And that's when he seen me standing by the dude that run the parlay. So he probably was like, that's what Weezy got on the phone. You know what I mean? I don't know if he was that mad, but for real, I don't know if he was working with this lady. I don't know if he was gonna be motherfucking Omar Epps off In Too Deep, goddamn it, Jay Reed. I don't know if that was just gonna be his job. But at the end of the day, I know he told when he ran down on dude. Dude didn't even know why they was shaking him down. He was mad as hell. They took all his parlay tickets. You know what I mean? They even took some of his goddamn shit. You know what I mean? Because he had so much shit from under the parlay. No people never shake that man down. So when I seen that, I knew it was a play. I'm like, this shit wild as a bitch. I'm like, man, CO fucking creature, ugly ass. And I was like, this shit wild as hell. So yeah, bro never came out the hole. Bro never came out the fucking hole, man. But they locked them niggas up who whooped his ass. They locked them niggas up. And my man told me like, yo, bro, like they saying goddamn they under investigation. They might get transferred for goddamn assault by mob, all type of shit. So bro must have was back in the hole pushing all that shit. You know what I mean? I seen CO Creature for the last time. When I say the last time, because this is because I got transferred. I seen CO Creature. My word, this was really saved me. I seen CO Creature. I was like, I just looked at her. She was like, White, I know what the hell you doing, White. I'm gonna get your ass. Watch, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I looked at her like, you need to get your goddamn ass a makeover, your ugly ass. She was like, what? I was like, man, your ugly ass, man. I don't know what fuck, man. Do what you like. What? She started snapping. I was like, man, I ain't trying to hear that shit, man. Your ugly ass, man. Walked in the pod, man. Creature looking ass. I smoked her ass this time. Creature looking ass. Went in the goddamn pod. My word, she doing all that damn snapping. I was like, man, this lady dumb as a bitch. I already knew she laughed at me. I told my homeboy, I was like, bro, don't bring that jack around me, bro. I was like, I'll use that shit when she's gone. I'm not fucking with this lady. My word, I wake up the next morning. Walk in the cell. I said, like, hey, the lady in the booth called you. Man, I'm mad as a bitch because I don't know what that is. I was thinking I was going on investigation or whatever. So I was scared to hit the button. I hit the button. I was like, yo. She was like, White. I was like, yo. She was like, pack your shit. You're getting transferred tomorrow. I was like, I was sick, y'all. But I was really escaping a bullet, man. I ain't even gonna lie, man. CO Creature was a fucking maniac. She probably still working at Louisville, man. Her ugly ass. But I ducked her like that, y'all. That's how I escaped this whole shit, man. That shit was wild, man. I got transferred. That's how I got the fuck out the way, man. I ain't even gonna lie, man. I got away from her ugly ass, man. Thank God. But that was a crazy situation. That's the end of the damn story, though, y'all. Man, I appreciate y'all for watching, man. Stay your ass out the way this weekend, man. Live your life, man. Enjoy the good weather, man. We ain't going to prison, man. We staying out here with our family forever. Period, man. But y'all already know what it is, man. This was the weekend banger game. So what I need to do is like, subscribe, y'all. Let's go. But be safe out there, y'all. And stay your ass out the way.
Get your money, don't care who judge. Stay out the way, surround yourself with nothing but love. Stay out the way, if you a gangster, killer or thug. Stay out the way, put your faith in the man above. Stay out the way, chill with your family, siblings and blood. Stay out the way, kick it with your girl, forget hit in the club. Stay out the way, mind on your money, ain't no switching it up. Stay out the way, stand out the way, what you thought that it was. Stay out the way, if you stuck down on your luck, not feeling righteous. Did a petty crime, just looking for some excitement. Now your name on affidavits and court indictments get paid for a lot, but your freedom is priceless. You did the crime, you do the time, don't let it surprise you. Real stories from the heart just to open your eyes up.